Hello everyone, it's Paige and welcome back to my YouTube channel today. And I'm going to do a short game tutorial for you. And I realize that when I do my short game tutorials that sometimes I don't always pick the shot that is the best shot for everyone. And I feel very comfortable with it because I have years of practice, hours of practice, and a lot of people struggle off of a tight lie, and I'm over here telling you guys to hit a 54 or a 58 and just turn your hands over. And that's a really great shot with a lot of practice, but it does take time, it takes practice, and it takes a lot of imagination and feel. And for people who are just playing for fun or don't have that time, here are some shots that are going to be significantly better for you and easier for you to hit off of a tight lie. I recommend if you are on a tight lie to always putt it, but sometimes that is not always the best option. For example, like the ground is a little fluffier here, the grass is a little fluffier, so if you putt it, it might get a little stuck up into the first cut before you get onto the green, and so chipping it is a better option. But we have a ton of room to go. This is more of a bump and run type of shot. And this is where I would hit a 54 and really turn it down and spin it. But that is not a shot for everyone. So here are 3 ways to hit a basic chip shot when you have a little bit of room to run. So I am going to use a 7-iron and also my hybrid. You can also use a fairway wood if you don't have a hybrid. So we're going to start with the 7-iron first. And using a club with less loft is almost like using a putter, and that's going to be the second shot that I'm going to talk about. But first, let's just talk about our basic bump and run chipping technique. This is a very different chipping technique than I use with everything else. So when I tell you guys how to hit a chip shot, I tell you, have a pretty narrow stance and you want to set your weight forward, turn back, and almost like throw your hands and turn it over. You do not want to do that for this shot at all. So we have the stance pretty narrow. You guys can turn your feet out. I prefer to do that. And then choking down is a must. You want to set your weight forward on this shot. Never have your weight back. All the weight's going to be forward, so that is something that is consistent with all of my short game shots, is you need to have your weight forward. And then from here, you want to keep this triangle, and you're just going to turn back, turn through. You're not going to do any fancy wrist technique. You're not trying to bend your elbows. You're really doing the absolute minimum on this shot. And like I said, this is all you're going to do. That is it. Because you have a less lofted club, you're letting the club do all of the work, and what you really want to do is just get it on the green, and from there it's just going to roll out. Mid stance, back and through. Do you see how simple and how easy that shot is? It is a way easier shot than using a 54. I personally am not as consistent with this shot because I don't practice it as much, but your misses with this shot are going to be way better than if you're using like a 54, because with the 54 you could chunk it, you could blade it, there's so much that can go wrong with it. But with this shot, there's really not much that can go wrong. Again, it's going to take practice. Any short game shot that I show you is going to take practice, but this is one of the easier shots that you're able to hit. I like to read these shots as almost if they're like a putt, because you're flying at such a short amount and majority of it is roll. And so you're going to read it as if you're hitting a putt. So always remember that as well, because it's rolling a lot more. It's going to take more of the break. So read it as if you're going to read a putt. And then if you still struggle with that and you're like, I like to putt it, but sometimes I can't, that's what you're going to do. So you're going to use a putting stance and putting grip and turn back, turn through. That is literally it. You're going to have a square stance, shoulder width apart. using your putting grip. Could be any putting grip that you use. If you guys like the claw, use the claw. If you like left hand low, like whatever you do for your putting grip, that's the grip you're going to do for this shot. And then you just take it back and take it through. It's as simple as that. It's pretty much a putt, but because you have a little bit of loft on it, it's just going to carry that first cut onto the green. And again, read it as if it's a putt. It basically is a putt at this point. So if you struggle on really tight lies and you're inconsistent with your putting, try the putt chip. That's what I like to call it. Putting stance, putting grip, pretty much almost like a putting stroke as well. And you just let the club do the work. If you feel that if you have a really long shot, but like a bump and run type of shot, you have a lot of green to work with, and say the 7-iron, you feel like you have to take it too far back with that putt chip putting stroke style with that style, which again, you do feel like you have to take it back a little too far. You don't want to do that. You want to feel a little bit more control. That's where you grab your hybrid or your wood, and from here it's the exact same technique, but you just don't have to take it back as far. It's going to roll a little bit more. So same setup, choke down, putting grip, putting stance, and then you just take it back, take it through. So as you can see, I didn't have to take it back as far because there's less loft on this, so it's going to roll forever. And so it's a little bit easier to control. As you can see, it just kind of like pops up, but it's reacting and rolling as if a putt would. So those are my favorite shots that I like to hit when I'm on a tight lie and I have a lot of green to work with. And it really is the easiest shot you can possibly hit. And you can do this technique too for if you don't have a lot of green to work with. Just grab a more lofted club and you can use this technique. If you do not like the other techniques that I show you with a little bit more wrist and hand action, then this is a great alternative for you. So that is all for today. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, like today's video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next Thursday.